Hi, good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hartono. Today, me and my dearest friend, Abigail, Wanda, Adinda Jasmine P, Wardha, Nurul, Sasqia, and Tannia Elvirra from Defense to Class would like to do a very comprehensive presentation entitled The Pestle Analysis of Nigerian Country Risk for Investment. But before we discuss further about Nigeria and its country risk, I would like to explain about the structure of this presentation. So first, we will have introductions which will cover the concept that will be used in this presentation and a brief introductions about Nigeria. Second, we will have the discussion which will cover the Pestle analysis of Nigeria that will be started from the politics, environmental, social, technological, legal, and economy. Last but not least, we will have the conclusion which will summarize the presentation and conclude whether we should invest or not in Nigeria.
Country that located in West Africa. Nigeria's climate is dry in the north and also equator in the south. Nigeria is a country with diverse culture and ethnic groups. Belief in Nigeria is divided into Islam and also Christian. Islam is in the north and Christians is in the south. The economy in Nigeria is covered by agriculture, animal husbandry, forestry, mining, and industry. Nigeria is one of the largest oil producers in the world and a member of OPEC. High-quality crude oil is the biggest source of exports, and it has made Nigeria a rich country in Africa.
So this presentation defines investment as a commitment in long-term or short-term in the uncertainty domain regarding financial resources to gain something valuable in the future but accepting an appropriate level of risk. And what is the most essential or what is the key of investment itself? Then the answer would be the comprehensive information which might affect the decision maker or investor, which will lead us to understand what is country risk. So we understand country risk as a field of study that utilizes various valuable information to assess situation, whether to invest or not. So in short, we have to understand investment and country risk. They are connected, they are inseparable, they are inevitable, and they complement each other. So they should be discussed correspondingly. And the concept that might be used to present country risk are various, but in this presentation, we will only utilize Pestle analysis since this concept can help us to understand investment in a very fast point of view.
Political aspect in Nigeria. In the context of Nigeria government that is democracy under the Constitution 1990, executive power is the president who functions as the head of state and chief executive who is directly elected as a term of office for 4 years and nominate the vice president and the cabinet member. Each state elect a member to the House of Representatives for a term of 4 years. Nigeria had a fourth territory in the 1963 constitution, namely the North Nigeria, East Nigeria, West Nigeria, and Central West Nigeria. Without federal government, allocation of the revenue from oil export crops became the center of economic formation for the four regions and function as the country's main resource of foreign currency. The biggest challenge first is the Nigeria government. The Nigeria government, their political, economic, and social system were politically considered bad, and also the instability of the existing post-colonial Nigeria regime. The democratic regime has twice rolled out many things that happened in Nigeria until the collapse of the First Republic, which led to the emerge of civil war in 1967 until 1970. This lasts for several decades, resulting in the unstable Nigeria economy. During Nigeria's first independence, the source of their export distribution came from agriculture and also mineral, but this caused political dissension. Source Nigeria economic growth has moved to the distribution of petroleum export, and this has led to a proliferation of corruption, state patronage, and the volatility of change in global oil price and unstable domestic condition. Poverty is increasing, and there are social tensions that worsen the situation. And the main trigger in politics instability in Nigeria are during the election, coups, economic shock, elite competition, and the rise of regime leading to the social violence. Buhari provided a number of policies that were considered to be able to keep away investors and harm Nigeria economic growth. In 2015, 2015, the Nigeria government introduced a new policy on limiting the flow of foreign investors into and out of the domestic economy. This caused many concern to the growth between investors and thus they cannot return abroad. Nigeria also set a naira currency to the US dollar in when it caused a significant change in the fall of Nigeria foreign currency reserve. This did not last long. In 2016, the government removed the policy. In the world of politicians, the success of flow election and the dominance of party, there is a little evidence of accountability in politics that undermines the legitimacy and stability of democratic government. As you can see in this graphic, since 1972 to 2020, the policy right in Nigeria condition and the control of corruption, the extent of public power of the elite state that is used for their own interests, corruption in the big or small scale. Boko Haram has been around since 2009. A dangerous terrorist group in the world, according to Boko Haram, is education and culture that have a westernized influence are things that are forbidden or haram. Western culture, democracy, and some moderate forms of Muslim people recruit to enter this group are people who have an economy that is under threatened. In the North region, the Boko Haram sect has introduced a serious terrorist dimension into Nigeria crime space through the desire to destroy living sand property with reckless neglect, through bombing, kidnapping, and slaughtering humans like rams. The Boko Haram rebellion in North Nigeria has caused people to leave their business, bank closures, and government parastatal, among other issues. Rebellion in this country has resulted in a decline in business performance and also result in a greater investor apathy for the country and result in lower inflow of foreign investors. The Nigeria Petroleum Corporation, petroleum production, which was the main source of income for Nigeria in the 1970s. In July 2017, oil exploration team was ambushed in northwestern Nigeria. Terrorist activity can reduce incentive to spend the opposite unless this can lead to the reduction in investment in an economy, and this will have a multiplier effect on economic development throughout the world through normal business cycle and trade channel. Politically, Nigeria seems stable except for this terrorist uprising in the north of the country. Also, other factions in the south who are nervous about their rights to oil revenue can make business in the area unstable. For more than 16 years now, Nigeria has been operating under an uninterrupted system of democratic government. Nigeria operates a multi-party system with more than 10 political parties.
Now, from the environmental perspective, we argue that the investment in Nigeria is very beneficial and very doable for investors. However, investment should be made in the southern Nigeria due to geographical inequality that exists in the northern Nigeria. This argument, of course, can be concluded after comprehensive research on several aspects, which you can see on the charts that we have provided in the slide, such as the climate and season, geographical location reasoning, oil and gas natural resources, and water resources. In this part, we highlight two main discussions. First, about south that is more humid than the north, and second, about south's temperature that is more stable than the north. And why this condition can appear, or why this condition can emerge, it's because from the climate and season reasoning, we can highlight that south has long rainy season and short dry seasons. They have 2 rainy periods and 1 dry season period, which is conflicting to the north. And also, south receive 1,500 until 4,000 millimeter rainfall per year, meanwhile the north only receive 500 until 1,000 millimeter rainfall per year. And once rain in the north, it will rain heavily along with the raging storm, implying that it is very bad for agriculture. Now, from the geographical reasoning, south location is near to the North Atlantic Ocean and north location Ocean is near to the Arab Peninsula. This conditions, of course, has made the north suffers the hot and dry wind from Sahara, meanwhile the south region enjoys tropical wind from the North Atlantic Ocean. South also consists more water bodies than the north. It implies that the humidity in the south can be preserved very well because they have a lot of water bodies, as you can see from the pictures that we have provided in the slide. Now we move on to the third slide. We can highlight that the natural resources are mainly concentrated in the south, resulting more favorable area for business in the south rather than the north. So first, from the oil and gas natural resources perspective, the reserves are mostly located in the southern Nigeria and concentrated in Niger Delta. South Nigeria is the third largest mangrove forest in the world, where we all know that mangrove can naturally help company to decrease the small number of pollutions that might occur due to the business activity. Nigeria is not a country with the largest amount of oil reserves in Africa, but Nigeria can beat Libya as the largest producers of oil. This data implies that Nigeria is actually very effective and very efficient in terms of their oil and gas explorations. That is perfect for investment. Second, from the water resources perspective, and why we need to discuss about water resources, it's because we have to analyze water resources since every kind of business obviously needs water, either for the labor or the machine. Nigeria receives more rainfall or water compared to the other African states. South area has bigger water access than the north. Of course, because they are located near to the North Atlantic Oceans, which give them direct access to the water and guarantee the perfect rainy season for southern Nigeria. And south areas have riverine areas from the ocean. Riverine areas imply that the south not only have direct access to the salt water, but they also have direct access to the fresh waters. Investors do not need to purify salt water to become fresh water because the environment already provides them with the fresh water itself. So after hearing the explanations from the environmental perspective, we can suggest that the investment in Nigeria should be done in the southern part of Nigeria with the investment in oil and gas explorations because they are abundant of oil and gas natural resources, farming and agriculture because their climate and their season is very perfect, and of course freshwater fisheries because they have riverine areas, and saltwater fisheries because they also have direct access to the North Atlantic Ocean, and building, manufacture or other businesses would also suit with Nigeria.
Good day everyone, my name is Wardha. Today I will explain about social aspect in Nigeria. There are 3 points of our presentation. The first is religion and conflict, the second is education and traditions, and the third is health conditions. Okay, we start with the background. Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa. That number is decorated with a variety of ethnic, religious, and also culture, linguistic background. This is what triggers frequent conflict in Nigeria. Its hate in sentimental and difference in perspective make dispute often occur between ethnic and religious group. In these sections, the author will explain the social conditions in the country of Nigeria that can be taken into consideration by investors to think again whether Nigeria is the right area for the type of investment they want to make. The first point is condition of inter-religious conflict in Nigeria and its influence on the stability of the country. There are 2 major religions in Nigeria, which is Islam and also Christianity. The majority of Islam religious group adopted by the community are Sunni, and the spread of its population is located in northern Nigeria, when the diverse Christian population in the central and southern regions. In the southern region, the Muslim population become a minority and their life experience poverty and also difficult. Because of the quite large difference in view between southern and northern Nigeria, a conflict arose based on religious interests. In 2002, a militant organization called Boko Haram emerged. This group has aimed to control the entire territory of Nigeria and change the concept of country into the Islamic Sharia. They carry out the offensive activities to the government, such as attacking, terrorizing, violence, and intimidating. This conflict over time threatened the security of the Nigeria state because the government said around 3 million people had been victims. The group initially operated around the north and the northeast, but over time it spread to several southern regions, which made many Christian communities feel threatened there. They were forced to join and reject other teaching other than teaching of Islam taught by extremist groups such as Boko Haram. And the second point is the low quality of education in Nigeria, especially for women, because it is hindered by culture and traditions and its impact to the quality of labor. The education system created by the government in Nigeria consists of 6 years of elementary school, 3 years of junior high school, and 3 years of public high school, and 4 years at university. But the problem with the quality of education in this country is the issue of high gender equality. The level of gender discrimination in this country prevents most of women from getting proper educations, from basic education to university. This is because most people in Nigeria still uphold their cultural value, which believe that as women it is better to be at home and learn how to take care of household and family matters rather than going to school. Nigerian traditions, like parents are more likely to educate their children since childhood to farm and work for money rather than studying. They want their children to continue their work later because they know how difficult it is to make money in this country. With the low and uneven education system in Nigeria, the quality of workers and employees there is also very low. Many labor strikes occur because of salary imbalance or rising living costs, so this can make into consideration regarding the poor quality of human resource in Nigeria. The third point is quality of health in Nigeria and its impact on social condition. The quality of country health is very important to improve the quality of life of its citizens, not only for economic development but also for social development. Nigeria has many obstacles and problems regarding its citizens' health problems they face. Some examples of diseases that attack Nigeria are malaria, infection, HIV and AIDS, diarrhea, and traffic accidents, with HIV and AIDS and also malaria as the main cause of death in Nigeria with 190,000 victims. The national health system in this country doesn't distribute doctors and hospital staff fairly. Most of the expert doctors are in urban rather than rural area, where 52% of the population live in rural area. With income reaching only $1 until $2 per day, the reason is that people are not able to meet their primary needs, including their own health. The lack of education also makes people not understand how to properly respond to their illness and also how to care for the environment so that at least minimize the spread of disease. From the various explanations above about the social situation in Nigeria provide a little picture that can be considerations for investors to think again to start or put their business in this country.
How technology affects investment in Nigeria. So Nigeria is one of the countries with the biggest economic income in Africa. According to the 2016 second quarter report of the Nigerian National Statistics Bureau, economic development in Nigeria is driven by the non-oil sector, which was spearheaded by many sectors in fields of agriculture, IT, water supply, entertainment, and also technical services. Nigeria has the highest number of internet users in Africa and has one of the fastest growing internet users bases in the world. And according to the Statista, there are approximately 76.2 million Nigerian internet users as 2017. And investment growth in the technology sector in Nigeria has also increased because ICT awareness among the public has also increased and has grown impressively. Likewise, the spread of ICT in the public and private sectors. From the above data, it can be concluded that there are millions of Nigerians who are interested. First is technology in Nigeria agricultural sector. So from the diagram above, prove the main sector that dominates the economic growth in Nigeria is from agriculture. This is why the government is focused to expand more in this sector. And this is the picture about IoT technology. So the Nigerian government has implemented e-agriculture method, which sees agricultural services, dissemination of technology, IT, and product distribution can be delivered or improved through the implementation of Internet of Things or IoT technology. So IoT technology can maintain tons of data, like weather conditions, soil quality, crops growth progress, or cattle health. It also can automate multiple processes across the production style. For example, irrigation, fertilizing, or pest control. Farmers also use drones for water crops, tractors, and also used to facilitate bush fellers, refiners, harvesters, fertilizer sprinklers, etc. These all are forms of the implementation of IoT technology into smart farming. So the second is technology in drilling for underground water. So, since ancient time, people in Nigeria have manually dug wells and drew water using ropes and tied to buckets. But with the development of technology, boreholes can be sprayed throughout the country in the form of household to offices. And this is a very important business opportunity to continue to develop water drilling companies and also clean water companies in Nigeria because it can also improve sustainability in Nigeria. And over time, technology will continue to develop and human civilization will continue to take advantage of technology for ease of life. The last but not least is the internet. So Nigerian internet speed history first started in 2001, where the global system for mobile communication was introduced to people. Since that time, Nigeria has developed fast in the internet speed. So this is the picture of statistical data. So from the above statistical data since 2017, we can predict an increase in internet users and interest in business in Nigeria. So the example of businesses in Nigeria that already started is Google Nigeria and also Huawei Technologies Company. And by looking from increasing enthusiasm for the internet and technological advancements, this has become a great opportunity for investors in telecommunications, network, and technology companies to contribute more to the development of Nigeria.
Legal. As we know, Nigeria has a very abundant resources, but most of these resources have not yet been fully exploited. Extraordinary opportunity for foreign direct investor exists in various sectors such as agriculture, customer goods, and extra. This is of course must be supported by a regulation that can be mutually beneficial for the country and investor. There are two choices for foreign investor who want to invest in Nigeria. First is foreign portfolio investment, which involve investing in stock and security of an existing Nigeria company. Next is foreign direct investor, which involve establishing a business enterprise and acquisition of business asset in Nigeria. Under the law applicable in Section 17 and 18 of Nigeria Investor Promotion Commission Act Law, foreign investors are permitted to fully own business or partner with others in Nigeria, but there is a restriction or constraint in Nigeria. First is manufacturing of military or paramilitary wear and aqua treatment, production of arms and ammunition, production and dealing in narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances, and other items as a Federal Executive Council may from time to time determine. And there are the sector-specific restrictions that investors must be aware of. First is oil and gas. Next is private security. Next is engineering, broadcasting, and management restriction. Under Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission Act Law, the government offers the ease of doing business by offering an easy registration process. And under the current system, investment approval is not needed, but it's required to all investment with foreign participants to be registered with the Nigeria Investor Promotion Commission Act Law to be covered by the treatment and protection clause of the Act that accordance with Section 17 and 27 of the IPC. And the free flow of investment capital and freedom from confiscation of investment also encourage the withdrawal of the state as an investment destination. According Central Bank of Nigeria, investors are allowed to repatriate their capital and net income freely after tax without any restriction on the condition that they have a capital import certificate or CCI, which is proof that their investment is brought to Nigeria. CCI issued by an authorized dealer or a bank licensed by the Central Bank of Nigeria to handle foreign exchange within 24 to 48 hours after an investor brings foreign investment to Nigeria. Next is the regulatory framework of foreign investment in Nigeria. First, the Company and Allied Matter Act. This regulates the establishment and operation of business enterprises in Nigeria. A foreign company cannot operate a business in Nigeria unless it is registered under the law. Next is Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission Act Law. This is the agency responsible for overseeing the participation of foreigners in business enterprise in Nigeria. Next, the Company Income Tax Act, Personal Income Tax Act, Value Add Tax Act, Stamp Duty Act, Capital Gain Tax Act, Petroleum Profit Tax Act, and extra. This is the law provided for the tax obligation of company and individual operating in Nigeria. Next, there are Investment and Security Act, or ICI. This is empower the Security and Exchange Commission with the responsibility of regulating the investment and security business in Nigeria. Next, there are Immigration Act and National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion Act, and there are Foreign Exchange Monitoring and Miscellaneous Provision or FEMA Act. and some sector-specific laws include the Nigeria Communication Commission Act and Regulation, Nigeria Broadcasting Commission Act and Pension Reform Act, and a regulation and guideline issued by the relevant regulator.
My name is Tannia Elvirra and I'm going to explain about the risks of an economic sector in Nigeria. So Nigeria is one of the countries in frontier market category, which represent the next wave as an investment destination. Frontier market provide an opportunity to invest, but it is quite risky because it often suffers from low liquidity. But the current condition of Nigeria economic sector would be rather difficult for investors to invest in this country because Nigeria is currently in period of an economic recovery after experiencing an economic recession in 2016. Although the Bureau Statistics of Nigeria show an economic recovery and improvement, but according to International Monetary Fund, Nigeria economic growth in 2020 and 2021 would be about 2.5%, and it below the average of other sub-Saharan Africa countries, which about 3.5%. Nigeria national debt is quite high in relation to GDP or gross domestic product. The high number of national debt will create more government bond and create a higher interest rate. The economic and business growth went due to the lower purchasing of the people, and at the end, it will create a long-term stock prices that will also lower for the investor. In 2020, Nigeria has an economic freedom score about 57.2, and it makes Nigeria economic freedom is unfree. There is a high intervention by government and central bank, maintain the official rate that are overvalued for Nigerian currency. Over the last 50 years, Nigeria urban population has grown without the increase in social infrastructure and also without the adequate employment opportunity. It leaves Nigeria youth unemployment caused poverty, and it also exacerbating its economic growth that already slow. According to Statista, in 2019, Nigeria unemployment is about 20%, or more precisely, it's about 19.58%, and it will lead to the social conflict and will create unstable condition for investment. There are some suggestions from economic sector for the investor. The investor can invest in agriculture and mining sector, and the high population of Nigeria can be used by the investor for a large workforce at the low prices, and the business product can be distributed outside Nigeria to get the maximum profit and get a high stock market for the investors. After analyzing the country risk of Nigeria using Pestle analysis, we found that Nigeria's environmental, technological, and legal sector are good for investment, but in Nigeria's political, social, and economic sector is not too good for investment. In environmental sector, Nigeria can be used as a place to invest because of its wide geographical area in south part of Nigeria, and in technological sector, Nigeria can be used as a place to invest due to the increased number of internet users and the interest of business. And Nigeria legal sector offers an easy way for investor to invest in Nigeria. But in political sector, Nigeria is quite vulnerable. Although the south part seems stable, but the problem of terrorism in the north will threaten the stability and will affect the decision and policy that would be applied in Nigeria. In social sector, investor would face a lot of risk due to the various of social problem there. Current condition of Nigeria economic sector would be rather difficult for investor to invest in Nigeria. With the suggestion that already explained by each sector in the previous presentation, we hope that investor can invest in Nigeria properly to get a high stock market. That's all from us. Thank you for your attention.